Imagine a world without the internet, without airplanes, or even a phone call. A time when ideas, goods, and cultures traveled across vast distances, not in days, but in months. Welcome to the incredible world of the Silk Road, one of history's most significant trade networks that spanned thousands of miles, connecting East and West, shaping civilizations, and transforming the world as we know it. Today, we're diving into the history of this ancient highway of trade and transformation. From silk to spices, from warlords to merchants, the Silk Road wasn't just about goods. It was about the exchange of knowledge, cultures, and ideas. Let's embark on this journey together, exploring the rise and fall of a global connection like no other. The story of the Silk Road begins in the heart of China, around 200 BCE, during the reign of the Han Dynasty. But why was it called the Silk Road? Well, it was the trade of silk, an immensely valuable fabric, that started it all. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's rewind a bit. Imagine ancient China, rich with resources, unique goods, and the innovation of silk weaving, but also isolated from the rest of the world. Enter the Han Dynasty. The Han rulers, eager to expand their influence, set their sights on the West. But they didn't do this through military conquest alone. They built a network of routes that stretched over 4,000 miles, from China through Central Asia, all the way to the Mediterranean. This network would become what we now call the Silk Road. And it wasn't just one road, it was a whole web of interconnected routes, crossing deserts, mountains, and vast plains. These routes carried not only silk but also tea, paper, and porcelain from the east, while the West sent goods like glassware, wool, and horses. And thus, a global trade network was born. But that's just the beginning. As the centuries passed, the Silk Road flourished, especially under empires like the Tang Dynasty in China and the Roman Empire to the west. And with trade came something just as valuable as goods: ideas. One of the most significant exchanges along the Silk Road was the spread of religion. Buddhism, for example, journeyed from India to China, Korea, and Japan, where it took root and transformed cultures. Imagine the profound impact of a religion that had never set foot in your country, now spreading throughout your entire continent. But it didn't stop there. Christianity, Islam, Zoroastrianism, all traveled the Silk Road, blending with local beliefs and creating new cultural fusions. Then, there was the exchange of art and technology. The West learned from Chinese inventions like papermaking and gunpowder, while the East embraced Greek philosophy, Persian astronomy, and Roman architecture. It wasn't just about trading physical goods, it was the birth of a shared human experience across continents. Now, let's talk about the key players in this grand drama. Empires played a crucial role in the Silk Road's success. The powerful Roman Empire, with its thirst for Eastern luxury goods, laid the foundation for trade routes stretching into Central Asia. Meanwhile, the Parthian Empire served as an intermediary, controlling vast territories between Rome and China. But no empire's influence on the Silk Road would match that of the Mongols. Under the leadership of Genghis Khan in the 13th century, the Mongols brought peace to the vast stretches of the Silk Road, a period known as the Pax Mongolica. This peace, in turn, boosted trade across the network and made the exchange of goods, culture, and even people safer than ever. Imagine a caravan of traders traveling across the vast desert with the knowledge that they were protected by one of the largest empires in history. Yet, the Silk Road wasn't all about empires. The true lifeblood of this trade route were the traders themselves, the brave souls who carried their wares from one end of the known world to the other. The traders were the connectors between distant lands. It's said that a single piece of silk could pass through dozens of hands before reaching its final destination. These traders were cultural ambassadors, spreading languages, stories, and recipes along the way. Sadly, no great journey lasts forever. By the 15th century, the once thriving Silk Road began to decline. The reasons were many: political instability, the rise of maritime trade routes, and the Mongol Empire's disintegration all played their parts. But one of the most significant factors was the growing influence of sea routes. When European nations like Portugal and Spain began to chart new paths to Asia, they bypassed the overland routes altogether. Yet, even as the Silk Road faded, its legacy lived on. The cultural exchanges that took place for over 1,000 years left a lasting imprint on the world. The spread of gunpowder, paper, and printing technology revolutionized societies. The mingling of artistic styles shaped Renaissance Europe and even influenced the rise of Islamic architecture. And, of course, the legendary trade of silk, spices, and other goods helped lay the foundation for global commerce. Fast forward to the 21st century. The spirit of the Silk Road isn't gone, it's evolving. In recent years, countries like China have launched the Belt and Road Initiative, a modern-day Silk Road aimed at revitalizing trade and connections across Asia, Europe, and Africa. With high-speed trains and cutting-edge infrastructure, this project echoes the trade routes of old, but with a modern twist. Just like in ancient times, the world is coming together again, uniting people across borders, sharing ideas, and yes, trading goods. But perhaps the most powerful legacy of the Silk Road isn't the goods it carried, but the way it connected us. The Silk Road wasn't just a road, it was the beginning of globalization. And in many ways, it still is. So, what can we take away from the incredible history of the Silk Road? It's not just about trade, it's about how interconnected our world really is. From the exchange of goods to the exchange of ideas, the Silk Road reminds us that, despite our differences, we've always been connected. Today, whether we're sending emails, making phone calls, or flying across the world, we're still part of that same ancient network of exchange. The Silk Road may have faded, but the spirit of trade, transformation, and connection continues to shape our world. So, the next time you scroll through your phone or order something online, think about the ancient journey that made it all possible. After all, we're all walking the Silk Road now. Thanks for joining me on this incredible journey through the history of the Silk Road. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the past, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for more stories from history that shape our world today. Until next time, keep exploring